Hey everybody, this is Jen Keenan with the Four Squares Residential Group at Keller Williams Real Estate, coming to you with my Love the Way You Live video series. And this month, I'm so excited to have with me Susanne Casey from my friend, my colleague at Keller Williams Capital Partners in Columbus, Ohio. We're going to talk about Ohio today. I'm so excited. Our first Ohio interview.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So have I been to Ohio? I have. I've only been to Cleveland.
Okay.
Obviously Columbus is very different, the capital of the state. So talk to us about Columbus and what it's like to live there.
Well, Columbus is probably a little bit different than Cleveland. Cleveland and Cincinnati and Columbus are the three biggest cities in the state. And Cleveland and Cincinnati both had a big manufacturing and commerce base when they started, because they're both, Cleveland has Lake Erie, Cincinnati has the Ohio River. So they were, ships. We didn't have trucks then. So that's why those cities were developed. And actually Columbus started as, it was actually designated, the state capital used to be Chillicothe, which is kind of a little city. It's much smaller than the other two. And then it was moved to Columbus, and I can look up the whole history of that, but it was not originally the city.
Interesting. Okay, good to know.
The capital. So Columbus became the capital, and all of our state, federal, county government is here. So that is one of our biggest industries. We're pretty white collar. So, when people talk about Ohio and they talk about the Rust Belt and manufacturing's demise and how it's affected the state, I didn't want to say that we're totally immune from that, but we kind of are, because we're banking, education, law, finance, government.
That's super interesting, because we definitely have a lot of those industries here in Greater Boston. And so, when I talk to folks in other markets for these interviews that, I've been doing for almost a year now, a lot of it comes down to jobs and relocation and, is there going to be a fit for you? Because obviously, to some degree, you're not just going to up and move unless you have a place to work. So
yeah, that's my first question. Do you have a job? Like, what's bringing you here?
Right. So, knowing that, we have here in Greater Boston, hospitals, education, biotech, tech, certainly finance and banking as well. So I think sounds like it could be a good fit for anybody looking to, definitely bring down their cost of living for sure to some degree, depending
Absolutely.
on where you are. And I gave you permission, Suzanne, to share your screen. So I know we might look at a map, and then you're going to share some houses with us a little bit to get a sense of real estate out there and the area.
Oh, and pardon me, we were just talking about allergies, so now
it's all right. Again,
yeah, my big jug of water here.
Doing one take.
Hydration. So one of the things that I really like, which I'm very appreciative of, is we have an organization called Experience Columbus. So anybody who's looking to move here, this is where I direct them to first, because it really has a whole host of everything that's going on. You kind of get a good idea of what it's like to live here, what's going on, what the activities are for the month. And even I just had a family member want to know, like, what is there to do this weekend? So I directed her to this site. So this is really a great place to start. And one of the things that they have are these guides, and I use the destination profile and these relocation guides a lot when people are coming to town, because it really gives a virtual tour to every neighborhood that we have here. And we talked about businesses. So one of the things that we have been really prominent of recently, and our city has been attracting, like Amazon, a lot of the big retailers, because we are, which I thought this was cool, that we are within 1 day's drive of 46% of the country's population.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. I know. Isn't that crazy? To think about it that way. I know when I first heard that, I thought it was cool. So there's a lot of warehouses, a lot of places that are a little bit outside the city, but we have been a big logistics hub. And then overall, we have advanced computing, Automotive, we have a large Honda manufacturing facility that is just west of Columbus. That was a big deal when they came here. Biomedical, e-commerce, finance and insurance, and retail. This is home to, if you remember, the Limited stores.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they also own Victoria's Secret, or they did. I think they've spun off some, but Victoria's Secret, Bath and Body Works, Abercrombie, all of those places are located here. So kind of an exciting place to be. So a lot of good industry here.
Yeah, that's amazing. And the variety, I think, will appeal to a lot of people, which is really important, you know. Awesome. Yeah. And
So
go ahead.
business wise, these are probably the most prominent ones and probably recognizable. Huntington's probably a regional bank, but Jenny's Ice Cream, we're kind of excited about her because we like ice cream. But I mentioned these retail, Big Lots, Donato's, Grange Insurance, Nationwide Insurance, MI Homes, all of these places here.
Awesome. So no shortage of jobs in Columbus, which I think, well, I think right now might not be a shortage of jobs anywhere, but you know, I think the variety and certainly the opportunity is there for a lot of people, which is most important.
Exactly. So one of the things that I do like to go over is when somebody wants to move here, sometimes they think about rolling hills or farmland or being out in a rural community. Columbus is really a city. It's the 14th largest city in the United States. And we still have room to grow. You can see the density here. This is really the Columbus area. This is 270, which is our outer belt. Most of the business that I do is in the north side of town here, pretty much north of 70, unless you're going to go to German Village. And so I'll go down south if we're going to go to German Village. But a lot of our historic neighborhoods are located more towards downtown. Like I mentioned, German Village, and then we have Victorian Village and the Short North, which is kind of the exciting Short North's art district that brings a lot of people here. And we have a lot of conventions and festivals and all that good stuff during the summer.
Awesome. Talk to me about transportation, walkability, car dependent. You know, here in Greater Boston, we are very much a walking city. You know, even when you get out to your suburbs, you know, 5 miles outside of town, you know, we pride ourselves on kind of our neighborhoods and our walkability within your neighborhood, even if you're not going to walk a far distance. And certainly, you know, parking is always a challenge here. So, you know, anytime you can walk or ride a bike or take public transit. So talk to me a little bit about what it's like in Columbus in that respect.
Well, it depends upon where you live. I would say that if we had to generalize, that it's mostly car dependent, although you don't have to drive very far in terms to go anywhere. Like we had talked when we talked a couple weeks ago. I live in Westerville, and there are 4 grocery stores within 1.5 miles of my house. So could I walk there? Yeah. And do I run by there and grab a coffee? But, you know, it's more or less convenient when I'm out and about. I can swing by there on my way home, grab my groceries, but there is some walkability. Definitely downtown. There's a lot of walkability. In some of the older neighborhoods where they're a little bit more dense, which is probably much more like Boston. There is a lot of walkability. That is one of the things, that I think when they started about 20 years ago developing downtown, they underestimated the people like their cars here in the Midwest. So it was really a big disconnect. And a lot of the people that have moved downtown are people who are from out of town, which is interesting, because you don't really need to have a car as much. But there's neighborhoods like over here, like Grandview Heights, Upper Arlington. These have a little bit more walkability than some of the suburbs that are on the outskirts. And it really just depends. Like I said, Columbus, but then you get to Worthington. Worthington's an older town. Westerville, where I live, that was settled in the 1800s, like 1820. So, and a lot of the settlers here were from New England. So that's so the towns kind of look New Englandy.
I love that. I want to see what does New Englandy look like in Columbus, Ohio.
but those have a lot of walkability because they were built that way because they're older communities. There's some of the suburbs like Hilliard, that was really farmland that was developed probably most early in the 1980s. So people were driving cars. Some of the areas in Upper Arlington, when you get further north, that were developed in the 60s, that was the muscle car time. So I guess we had the thought that nobody was ever going to walk again. So there's not even sidewalks in some of those neighborhoods.
Funny.
So
let's talk about real estate. So, if you're obviously, I'm assuming your market is a lot of single family homes. But do you have high-rise condos or mid-rise condos downtown? Like talk a little bit about your stock in terms
we
of
do. Most of the condos are downtown, but there are a lot of condos that are being built in the suburbs, a lot of freestanding patio home type condos. Because and I have a lot of friends. I have run marathons and know people who do triathlon. So I have that friend group, and a lot of people don't want to be at home doing yard work or taking care of a house on the weekends. So it's a lot of times I'll get a call and hear, hey, Susanne, I'm not old yet, but I just don't want to be saddled to my house on the weekend because I want to go to races. So we get a lot of that. So there
a lot of associations that have amenities, but you still have a detached kind of freestanding place to live.
Correct. And it's really just a lifestyle, right?
Yeah. And that's very different than, we don't have that here rarely at all.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Ours are, we'll have single family neighborhoods, but there's no association.
Okay.
So you're still in charge of all your own stuff, or you have an attached condo or a building that might have management, but those are definitely more closer to the city. Like when you get out into the suburbs, it's very rare to see a detached neighborhood with an HOA.
That's interesting.
Unless maybe a 55 plus, but those are just coming along now here. We don't have a lot of land to build. So, and those associations just haven't taken place here where they do in other parts of the country.
Well, and one of the things, if I go back to the map, this whole area, really, it takes me without traffic, which has been kind of rude coming out of COVID. Now that there's traffic again, it was awesome when there was no traffic. But it really only takes me a half an hour. Like wherever I need to go, it's about 30 minutes. Now with traffic, I have to allow about 45. During rush hour, it could be an hour, but there's all this area out here that is still being developed. A lot of the developments happening out here, over here where I mentioned where that's really where Limited Brands is. Facebook is here now. Google, they're attract like that really smart young professional. A lot of that is happening out in New Albany, and you can see all this farmland out here. So a lot of that development is happening on the outskirts. So when I think of a city like Chicago or even like Boston, I mean, you could probably go for an hour or two outside the city and it still could be considered metropolitan Boston, or Chicago. Like here, we just don't have that buildup yet, and there's plenty of room to expand.
Yeah, for us, it's more like distance is your short distance, but long time for traffic. So yeah, Boston city limits is, somewhat, if you draw a circle, there's some of it there, but then, you go out more and then it's just individual towns and, suburbs. But yeah, so I think, the opportunity for somebody to leave here and go to a place like Columbus, you can get new construction, you can have an HOA, you can have things taken care of, which I think would be appealing for a lot of people.
Absolutely. And then our prices, which that's another interesting thing, even though our prices within that 270 outer belt have increased, a lot of the counties, you can see the list of counties now that comprise our MLS. A lot of the ones that are further out are where you have to go now if you want to be under 200,000. It used to be I could get you a cute little cape. If you wanted to be in a particular neighborhood, that would be within that price range. And now it's almost impossible. So anybody who wanted walkability and they had and I'm going to call it a first-time home buyer, although my first-time home buyers have some hefty budgets. right now they're priced out. They can't
Yeah.
be in those neighborhoods if they want that. They're going to have to drive.
Interesting.
So that's something that's happening here. And even though our average sales price is 301,000, that really doesn't buy you much.
Yeah. So show me, I'd love to see a little bit of like what you can get for your money, because I think certainly it's drastically different than what you get here.
Maybe it
Well,
depends.
just comparing to what you just said about that under 200,000, you would have to go to Western Mass here to get that. I mean, you're talking 2+ hours away.
And that would be the equivalent of us now. You would probably
Yeah.
have to go at least an hour out. Last year, I worked with a friend of mine who he really needed some guidance, and what he wanted just was not available where he
Yeah.
was. Now we did have an opportunity where which is like this time of year where there aren't as many buyers out.
Right.
It's a holiday, so people are distracted. So it's a good opportunity to get a house. Maybe some of the real estate's being overlooked. And if you are a buyer like that, you have to look during these low points in the market. That's where your opportunity lies. But I got to the point with him where I was like, dude, you're going to have to like go way out. We cannot give you what you want here anymore.
Right.
But so I was thinking about like New England, and so this one on Granby Street is in Worthington. Does that look like New England?
Yeah, that looks like a cape. So
Yeah.
we have those very common here. They're pretty popular kind of style. And I have a cape actually. So I'm biased.
Well, and I find that capes are interesting because not everybody loves capes here. And I always find they're harder to sell because I think they're sold this idea everybody wants a big open floor plan.
Mhm.
Well, in a
And
cape, you have a bedroom or two that takes up the first floor.
Yes.
So you don't have that space. But I will tell you the biggest problem, and you probably see that there, is people, the buyers who are just buying, and then also the buyers who are downsizing, they all want the capes because they like the bedrooms on the first floor.
Yes. Exactly.
So you have two huge buyer pools fighting over the same inventory.
Yes. Yeah, it's funny to look at this because it's actually like this, you could plunk in any suburb of Boston and this is very common.
Yeah, and this is 427.5. So obviously not average, but affordable.
Yeah, I would say so. And it's in really good condition.
Mm-hmm.
If we had a cape at that price point here, it would be in worse condition. You'd probably kind of broach over 500 for something in this condition here. It looks great. Very nice.
Yeah. And I'm actually surprised that hasn't sold yet, because that's actually in a really
it's cute.
Good spot. And then I pulled up like some other, since we were talking about average prices, I wanted to look at basically what would be available. So this one's cute. This is $319, and this is another cape. And, we're reaching, in terms of what's going on in our market right now, we had the 20-30 multiple offers back in the spring and summer. And it's still competitive if something is priced right and looks nice, but we've seen a lot of the buyers pull back. Yeah. So rather than having to offer way over asking, waive inspections, and kind of sell the farm, so to speak, in order to get the house, the buyers have a little bit more leverage now. Yeah. And you can see this one started out at 335. Yeah. It's at 319 now, 85 days, which is actually kind of surprising.
And this is a 3-bed?
It is a 3-bed and 1 bath.
Yeah.
950 square feet. And it's a cape.
Yep, really nice.
I guess that picture is really big.
That's all right.
There we go.
Oh, adorable. Love it.
And it has a garage. In fact, I was like, maybe I should buy that. It needs a new driveway.
Yeah. Oh, our driveways look like that. That's a good driveway here. Come on. The snow and the ice melt, forget it. That's a totally normal driveway here.
I have like driveway post-traumatic stress. I had a sale like years ago that wasn't going to close because of the driveway.
Oh my goodness. That would never happen here.
Yeah. So cute.
Well, I shouldn't say that. Never say never. I heard from my attorney yesterday that they were fighting over leaf cleanup. Not on my deal, another deal that he was dealing with. So I was laughing at that because it's like, all right, sure. Somebody's Somebody can argue about anything these days. I think.
Honestly, we just manage bad behavior. This one's really cute. And then
Yeah, I love
have
it.
like this built in here, which again, I might even go look at it. Look, this kitchen. How cute
Yeah, I
is
love
that?
it. Love the blue.
And so here is a condo that's $350 downtown. So you mentioned high rise.
Mm.
And this is in the Arena District. So we do have a couple major league teams. We do not have Major League Football or basketball. We do have hockey, the Blue Jackets, and we do have soccer. And then we do have a minor league baseball team. So they're all housed in what's called the Arena District, which is becoming like an entertainment area downtown, which is super fun.
We love our hockey here. So I think as long as you have hockey, you're going to be, people from Boston will be happy.
There you go. So you could walk to the hockey game from here.
This is great. I love this unit. This would be a really great investment for somebody looking to pick up a rental unit, perhaps outside of the area, who maybe doesn't have as much money to spend here, but is looking for a nice, return on their investment in another market.
Yeah, this is 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 1,000 square feet. The condo fee is $426. It looks like, yeah, you do have parking in the garage, which is good. Parking is a big deal.
Parking is a big deal here too.
It never used to be that, and every time, and I go downtown a lot, which is where a lot of my business is. It's usually up that downtown north corridor. Parking never used to be an issue, and now it's a huge struggle, and it's always, the neighborhoods always having issues. So, and then this is like out in the suburbs. So this is 335. And it's a 4 bedroom, 2.5 baths, 2,000 square feet.
Beautiful.
Good school
I love
district.
the exterior.
They have.
Ooh, look at that.
They have a lot of kids.
Nice. But good square footage and for, nice price, which I think is great.
And good school district, good area. Yeah, good amount of space. And then this one here is $289.9, and this is near Ohio State. So the Ohio State University, and not to be confused with Ohio University, because Ohio University is down south in Athens.
Yeah.
Totally different school. Ohio State has a lot of campus population, undergraduates, some graduate students, but they mostly live in a little bit more of the more expensive areas. We talked about this before. But this is a great little spot. It's kind of like, it has a boulevard street.
Oh, I love it. Beautiful.
And I'm actually surprised that this hasn't sold yet either. So it's been on for 8 days, $289, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, 1,100 square feet.
Perfect. What more do you need? I love it.
I know. I think it's super cute. I mean, no garage. This would just be your outdoor shed. You put your scooter in there.
Yeah.
But nice and clean, has some character.
Great.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cute. Great campus property. And what else did I pull up? Well, and this is in another spot. This one's not in very good shape. So this is like $279. We're seeing a lot of this stuff too on the market for 38 days. Yeah. This needs a professional. It's kind of a wreck.
So if you're looking for a project, it could be a good place to get some equity here.
Exactly. Do you have any questions? I'm sorry.
No, I just, we're getting to the end of our time here. So I just wanted to, ask again if, if anyone watching this video, if there's any kind of like the biggest questions you get when folks come to Columbus, or just any kind of hidden tips that we might want to share with folks before we wrap up.
I would probably say that it's not as inexpensive as you think. The houses that I showed you are not necessarily the ones that people are buying. Usually my client average is about anywhere between 500,000 and 700,000. So you get much bigger home. Our taxes are probably a little bit higher than some places. I know that I've got that feedback. I don't know about in Massachusetts. But I know I've got exactly.
They're
I would
probably
think
less. I'll just take a guesstimate. They're probably less.
probably, and the people who the clients I've had who mentioned this, they come from states that have a lot of tourism, and we don't have tourism to offset those taxes. But there are, here, I'll show you again. I'll share the screen.
Okay.
I like to share. I like to share. So there's a lot of stuff. So like I mentioned German Village. So this one's like 980. It closed for, actually it was listed for 985, closed for 980, 5 days. And I think this was cash.
Yeah.
So again, there's a lot of cash out there.
Yeah.
We have a lot of historic homes, but we do have a lot of newer construction in the city, which is mostly on the outskirts. And we do have a lot of variety of housing stock. Like I mentioned, there's condos, there's patio homes. I'm finding that a lot of people are moving here to be close to their kids. And I have a client right now, we just looked for another property because the one that they bought 2 years ago to be close to their kids is too small. They can't have anybody over. So now we're upsizing.
Right? Upsizing the downsizers.
So we do have a lot of options for different lifestyles, which I think that's probably a little bit more of a challenge in your market.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think, certainly anyone that I know that's watching this, obviously, if you're considering a move to Columbus, we will hook you up with Susanne, even if you just want to go out and, visit for a weekend. We'll put you in touch. She's a wonderful resource, my personal friend, and I'm so excited that you were able to spend some time with us today. I really appreciate it. And yeah, it's been fun as always.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So again, thank you everybody. Susanne Casey, Keller Williams in Capital Partners, Columbus, Ohio. Until next time, I hope you love the way you live. Thank you so much.